right, a wonderful morning to you wherever it is you're listening to us from omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Studio time check, 7 minutes gone past the hour, 7 o'clock this morning. From the studios of omoluwabi 87.7 FM, situated on the hills of Mokola, Ibadan. We are the voice of integrity, the station that brings you the best in news, talk, and of course music. How are you doing this morning? Trust you're good, and trust you had a good night's rest, and probably you're on your way to work already. Anyway, anyhow it is, just make sure you keep it locked to this dial. Omoluwabi the 7.7 FM throughout the day, because we are ready and set for the day to give you the best content and great programming for your listening pleasure this day, the 24th day rather, in the month of July 2024. How are you doing this morning? Trust you're good. All right, my name is Oluwatayo Ajewole, and I'm reporting for duty today on the program News Lens. Yeah, News Lens on Omoluwabi the 7.7 FM. You know how we do it on the program. We review newspaper headlines on a daily basis. That's what we do on the program Newslands, and then we analyze some of the headlines. You also get to be a part of the conversation. When the time comes, we open the phone lines for you to join, and then you air your opinions and thoughts as regards some of the things we'll be discussing on the show this morning. You know how we do it on the program. We read out the headlines first, after which we then come back to analyze some of the headlines that we have on the dailies. All right, this morning is not going to be an exemption, because this morning I have with me 4 newspapers for review. I have the Punch, I have the Nation, I have the Vanguard newspaper, and of course the Guardian newspaper this morning. I'll be starting off with the headlines this morning. Okay, with the Punch newspaper, we made this morning written bold leaf on the front page of the Punch newspaper. Nationwide protests, SGF minister hold emergency meeting today, saying Tinubu urges youth to shelve August 1 rally. Atiku Labour Party caution against protesters' arrests. And then this one saying Egbeto Kunwan anti-government protesters says Nigeria hasn't recovered from NSAS. And that's the banner headline there from the Nation newspaper. You can get full details of that story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And then we have this one saying National Assembly, okay, 70,000 naira wage labor to meet governors. Okay, National Assembly, okay, 70,000 naira wage labor to meet governors. I can get full details of that story on page 7 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Senate approves IGP's tenure extension. Senate approves IGP tenure extension. Can get full details of that story on page 16 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Federal government votes 2 trillion naira for Lagos Calabar orders. Okay, federal government votes 2 trillion naira for Lagos to Calabar orders. I can get full details of that story on page 25 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Drama as reps order WAEC officials detention. Drama as reps order WAEC officials detention. What's happening there? Get the full details of that story on page 7 of the Punch newspaper this morning. We have this one saying military hands over rescued Chibok girls. 330 orders to Borno government. Military hands over rescued Chibok girls. 330 orders to Borno government. I can get full details of that story on page 2 of the Punch newspaper this morning. We have this one saying Malta plants. Kyari counters Dangote amid calls for probe. Okay, Malta plants. Kyari counters Dangote amid calls for probe. Can get full details of that story on page 31 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Mohbad's family conduct fresh autopsy. Mohbad's family conducts fresh autopsy. That story is on page 5 of the Punch newspaper this morning. Our abductors got 5 million naira ransom. Okay, our abductors got 5 million naira ransom. Freed coppers. You can get full details of that story on page 4 and 5 of the Punch newspaper this morning. And then, of course, we have the Nation newspaper this morning with the banner headline saying Tinubu to protest planners. Shelve idea, await our response. Tinubu to protest planners. Shelve idea, await our response. Saying no room for violent protests, says IG. Cross River yet to recover from NSAS. Okay, and Wike plan is politically motivated. That's coming from Wike there as regards the nationwide plan strike. Okay, can get full details of that story on page 2 of the Nation newspaper this morning. MPA rakes in 541 billion naira revenue, remits 255 billion naira in first half of 2024, says outgoing MD. MPA rakes in 541 billion naira revenue, remits 255 billion naira in first half of 2024, says outgoing MD. Can get full details of that story on page 2 rather of the Nation newspaper this morning. And we have this one, the same minimum wage bill awaits Tinubu's assent. Minimum wage bill awaits Tinubu's assent. Can get full details of that story on page 3 of the Nation newspaper this morning. And still from the Nation newspaper, we have this one saying, DSP Buru hails president for signing Northwest Development Commission bill. DSP Barao rather. DSP Barao hails president for signing Northwest Development Commission. Can get full details of that story on page 4 of the Nation newspaper this morning. All right, very quickly, let's check out what we have from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Nasima orders kick as CBN hikes interest rates to 26.75%. Nasima orders kick as CBN hikes interest rates to 26.75%. Can get full details of that story on page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper. And the story has some riders here that says capital importation rises 234%. Okay, capital importation rises 234% to $5.9 billion in quarter one of half one of 2024. That's coming from Cardoso there speaking. And it's saying external reserve, it's $37 billion as diaspora remittance rise to 62%. Okay, MPR hike increases uncertainty for business. Okay, MPR hike increases uncertainty for business. That's coming from Nasima there. You can get full details of all of the story from page 20 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Tinubu to youth, protest needless. I'm addressing your grievances as Ononuga Obi's face off takes new twists. Tinubu to youth, protest needless. I'm addressing your grievances as Ononuga Obi's face off takes new twists. Can get full details of that story on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Dangote NNPCL field. Okay, Dangote NNPCL field worrisome. Obi additional $10. Dangote NNPCL field worrisome. That's coming from Obi additional and of course $10 there. Can get full details of that story on page 9 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Lagos billionaire kidnappers. Last minute conversation before they struck at Ladipo. Lagos billionaire kidnappers. Last minute conversation before they struck at Ladipo. Can get full details of that on page 6 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. NAS passes 70,000 naira minimum wage bill into law. NAS passes 70,000 naira minimum wage bill into law. Can get more of that story on page 8 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. And that's all we have from the Vanguard newspaper this morning. All right, without much ado, let's check the Guardian newspaper this morning. Now, with this one from the front page of the Vanguard newspaper as the banner headline saying inflation, weak fiscal support pushes CBN to further rates hikes, credit squeezes. Okay, weak fiscal support pushes CBN to further rates hikes, credit squeeze. Okay, and get full details of that report there on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. I have this one saying NAS okay 70,000 naira minimum wage, adjust 2024 budget by 6.2 trillion naira. NAS okay 70,000 naira minimum wage, adjust 2024 budget by 6.2 trillion naira. You can get full details of that story on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. House of Reps orders NEC discourse to reverse Band A tariff hike. House of Reps orders NEC discourse to reverse Band A tariff hike. You can get full details of that story on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Additional backs Dangote as Kyari denies owing overseas refinery. Okay, additional backs Dangote as Kyari denies owing overseas refinery. You can get full details of that story on page 15 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Senate passes Police Act bill, extend IGP's tenure till 2027. Senate passes Police Act bill, extends IGP's tenure till 2027. You can get more of that story on page 5 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Nigeria working to overtake world economies. Okay, says Shetima. Nigeria working to overtake world economies, says Shetima. Full details of that news is on page 30 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Atiku backs planned protest as Tinubu begs Nigerians. Atiku backs planned protest as Tinubu begs Nigerians. You can get full details of that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. And that's all we have from the Guardian newspaper this morning and also from the headlines this morning. Do not forget, we are streaming live on Facebook this morning. We are streaming live on Facebook at Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Omoluwabi 87.7 FM on Facebook. And of course, on YouTube, you can watch us live too at Omoluwabi 87.7 FM on Facebook and on YouTube. We are streaming live this morning. All right, you can go there and watch us. Drop your comments and like the videos, and then drop your thoughts as regards some of the things we'll be discussing this morning. You can also share for other people to know that we are streaming live this morning at Omoluwabi 87.7 FM on Facebook and of course on YouTube this morning. All right, before we move on the program, we'll be going on a short commercial break, and when we return, Newslands will continue right here on Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back after this short timeout.
The voice of integrity, Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
At break time, when my champ needs to keep going, he's going to need his favorite snack, made with the goodness of malt, milk, cocoa, and crunchy Niger-grown maize, containing calcium, iron, and fiber.
Break time is crunch time, so give your chance this delicious crunchy delight to keep them winning all day. Milo and a snacks, snack of future champions. Milo!
Hello?
Hello there. I'm at the hospital right now because the kills are seriously ill. I've been on a long queue and the doctor is here to attend to me. I don't know what to do again.
You know what? How about the numbers I gave you while leaving?
Oh, the e-Dokita numbers?
Yes.
Call them right away. They will attend to you immediately.
Hello?
Darling, just like magic. Junior is playing. Even Princess is eating like an adult.
You know I've told you to calm down. Our family is covered with e-Dokita Premium Plan. With eDokita, you have access to healthcare at your fingertips. Stop wasting your productive hours while waiting in the clinic for doctor. Subscribe today to any of eDokita plans and enjoy online chat and call consult, laser therapy, medical outreach, and home care services. Simply dial 0704-714-2000 or 0701-000-8670. Log on to www.edokita.com or visit us at eDokita, number 2 Ocean Street, New Bodija, Ibadan. eDokita, inspiring wellness.
Attention, attention, attention. This is an important public health announcement. A cholera pandemic outbreak has been declared. Cholera is a highly contagious and deadly disease that spreads through contaminated food, water, and human contact. To stay safe, please drink only treated water. Wash your hands frequently with soap and clean water. Avoid raw or undercooked food. Avoid close contact with people showing symptoms. And lastly, get vaccinated immediately. This public service announcement is brought to you by Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM. Remember, awareness and prompt action is the key to preventing the spread of cholera.
My Sabi people, how una dey? Na Sabi people dey listen to Sabi Radio. Omoluwabi Radio 87.7 FM, na dem be Sabi Radio.
Right here, welcome back. It's the Newslands right here on Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. And then right about now, we will going straight into the analysis of some of the stories that we have this morning on the front pages of the Nigerian dailies this day. Okay, I have with me in the studio Professor Wale Akinyemi. Good morning, Prof.
Good morning, Tayo. Good morning to our listeners around the world.
And of course, with me in the studio this morning is Comrade Omoju. Good morning, Comrade.
Good morning. Thanks for having me. Good morning, Nigerians.
Okay, we'll be starting with this, talking about the planned nationwide protest. The president is saying, shelve this idea and wait our response at this for now. We are working tirelessly to make sure that everything comes back to normal. That's according to the president yesterday. But then Nigerians, some other persons are saying, you can't stop people from protesting. You have the likes of Atiku and the likes of Peter Obi there speaking. And then you've seen some set of people too, some pressure groups still coming out saying you can't stop Nigerians from protesting if you want to protest. And then the Inspector General of Police also came on board and said we can't afford to allow any nationwide strike. What's it called now? Protest as we speak at this point in time, because we are still we've still not we are still battling with what NSAS left us with at this point. But then many Nigerians are saying different governments can't tell us what to do, because Nigerians are hungry and tired at this point in time. So that will be our lead story this morning. But then before we go on, let me remind you once again that you can watch us live on Facebook this morning. Watch us live on Facebook this morning at omoluwabi 87.7 FM. We are live on Facebook this morning at omoluwabi 87.7 FM. You can also watch us on YouTube at omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Drop your comments there, and then we would love to hear from you. We'll read your comments on Facebook and then this morning. Okay, without much ado, let's check how the newspapers report the issue of the nationwide planned protest and the response of the government at this time. Tinubu to protest planners. Chef idea with our response. That's according to the Nation newspaper this morning. Say no room for violent protest, says IG. Cross River yet to recover from the NSAS. Can get full details of that story on page 4 of the Nation newspaper, saying this morning. Wiki is also speaking here. Wiki say plan is politically motivated. That's according to Wiki, saying that the plan nationwide protest is politically motivated. All right, let's see what the Punch has to say this morning as regards the nationwide protest. Is saying nationwide protests. SGF ministers hold emergency meeting today. Tinubu urges youth to shelve idea. Saying she should shelve August 1 rally. Atiku Labour Party cautions against protesters. Okay, protesters arrest, saying that's according to Labour Party and Atiku Abubakar. Them, Ibetokun wants anti-government protesters, says Nigeria hasn't recovered from NSAS, and that's how the Punch newspaper reports that story this morning. Tinubu to youth, protest needless. I'm addressing your grievances, and saying as Ononuga Obi face off takes new twists. The Vanguard newspaper is reporting that story and is on page 5 of the Vanguard newspaper this morning. Okay, we have this one saying Atiku backs planned protest as Tinubu begs Nigerians. That's from Guardian newspaper this morning. Atiku backs planned protest as Tinubu begs Nigerians. Okay, can get full details of that story on page 6 of the Guardian newspaper this morning. Okay, and then Professor Wode Akiyemi, Nigerians are saying they want to go on strike at this point. Is strike protests are planned protests at this point? Is this the way forward at this point in time? We are still like it was reported in the news. We are still trying to recover from the NSAS protest from 2020. So, what do you think this is the way forward at this time to go on a planned protest nationwide? What's your take on this?
Thank you very much. You can't beat a child and say the child should not cry. If you ask me, do Nigerians have the ground for protest? I will answer yes. And if you ask me again, must they protest? I will say no. The reason is very, very clear. There is no way Nigerians can protest at this time and it will not turn violent. Because a hungry man is a angry man. And that is why I want to join Mr. President in appealing to Nigerians that they should please not go on strike at this particular moment. Because if it turns violent, it is going to affect people negatively more than even government. So many things will be disrupted. Even the little infrastructure that we have now, that we are managing, that are not operating at premium efficiency, will be destroyed. But there is something about government and the way they are managing this information. You will see that all the people that are anti-protest are pro-government people. It shouldn't be so. There should be some people that are just like me now, looking at the general picture and saying that not because Nigerians are not because we don't have ground to protest, but we should, out of a sense of patriotism, say that no, let us shelve this protest now and see what Mr. President and his government will do. If I were the president of Nigeria, let me tell you what I will do. I will make a special broadcast to Nigerians talking to them very, very passionately, letting them know that they have appointed me to do a job and I'm committed to doing that job, and that they should give me benefit of doubt. Not that I'll be talking to them from a high horse, the way the IG is saying that they will not tolerate any protest at this particular moment. What is the population of all the security people in Nigeria compared to millions of Nigerians? If they decide to protest, they will not be able to manage it. That is the reality of the situation on the ground. The other thing, of course, is that government must begin to, even between now and that August 1, show some things, concrete proof that they're actually listening in terms of making some definite policy decisions that will ameliorate the sufferings of Nigerians. It should not just be a matter of talk. They must now begin to walk the talk. I think that is the only way in which they can persuade Nigerians not to protest at this time. For Alhaji Atiku Abubakar and the rest of them saying that they back the protest, what do you expect? They are in their opposition, and whether you like it or not, the protest to some extent is politically motivated, even though Nigerians have serious ground for protest because government itself has not been living up to expectation.
Okay. Let's listen to the Minister of Information as regards the planned nationwide protest and what he has to say this morning.
Of the country generally, and Mr. President has asked me to again inform Nigerians that he listens to them, especially the young people that are trying to protest. Mr. President is listening to them. He takes what they say seriously and is working assiduously to ensure that this country is good, not just for today, but also for the future. The issue of the planned protest, Mr. President does not see any need for that. He's asked them to shelve that plan. He's asked them to await government's response to all their pleas. He has listened to them, like I said, and a lot is happening. Only today, the National Assembly has expeditiously passed the new national minimum wage. You can see how the president is working. It was transmitted only yesterday. Today it has been passed. A lot of other interventions that the president has also put in place are also going to be looked at expeditiously in the interest of Nigeria. So there's no need for strike. The young people out there should listen to the president and allow the president more time to see to the realization of all the goodies he has for them. Well, for example, you saw that the federal government approved grains for and rice for state governments. It was delivered to them expeditiously also. The federal government is not, like I said that the other time, that it is not the necessary first step. Government is going to continue in that direction, supporting them and ensuring that whatever intervention that the federal government has put in place go to those that should benefit. It is very important that that is being put out. Federal government is looking at strategies to ensure that every intervention goes directly to those who benefit from those interventions, not middlemen have intervening also along the way. That's one. Two, you heard about the Students' Loans Board that was also launched by the president. The president is very passionate about that, deepening that everyone that should go to school will have the opportunity to go to school. It's no longer a time for all of us to stay back and see our young, able-bodied men and women that have passed examination to go to tertiary institutions that have not been able to do that because their parents are unable to pay for their fees. This is a thing of the past. The government is very, very desirous of ensuring that that happens. You know that the provision that was made to the national, the NEL fund, the Students' Loan Fund, already we have in excess of what is required as at today. And the more that people are requiring that, the more the president will also give. There is also the intervention that the president is working at for those young men and women who have finished school, who are yet to get employed, post-NYSC, for example. That is a scheme that government is perfecting now. That is also going to be pushed very fast so that all those young men and women out there who have finished school, who are graduates of the universities and polytechnics that are unable to get jobs, they will continue to be supported by government until such a time that those jobs are offered to them. The whole idea is that no one is left behind. Everybody is an all-inclusive government, and the president is determined that no one should be left behind in this attempt to march Nigeria towards progress.
All right, so that was a Minister of Information and National Orientation there, speaking and urging, stating the mind of the president, saying Nigerians should not go on planned protests at this point in time because he also highlighted some of the works that the federal government has been doing in time past, so that Nigerians, all of us in Nigeria, is saying that it's an all-inclusive government, that everyone would benefit from the proceeds of democracy. Comrade Omoju, you listen to the Minister of Information, they're speaking. What's your take of his statement?
Once again, the president is working according to him. No problem about that. Now, talking about the idea of saying that the protest is needless, I completely disagree with that. The statement of Egbetokun, the Inspector General of Police, that we cannot tolerate a violent protest, I agree with that. But that protest is needless, I completely disagree. Now, the government that I know is a government that, if it's not put on its toe in this regard, is business as usual. There is relaxation, there is, okay, these people, is it not these people? Don't worry. So until government is put on its toe in this regard, that is when you see positive actions. Now, if information was not reaching out to them that protest will take place soon, possibly you will not hear all of this. And now, the protest that the Mr. President is now saying is needless was far more needful when it was on the other side, when he championed the Farm Fair protest that took place in Ojota back then. Let's go a little, down memory lane. It was part and parcel of the protest against the removal of subsidy under President Jonathan way back. And they remained in Abuja, the like of Dino Milaye then and some other groups of people that gathered themselves. Then it was needful. But now, at that time, you cannot compare even our standard of living and our economic status at that time with what is obtainable now. And at that time, it was needful. You all went, there with some, musicians, carrying drums and all of you, making that place, a sign show for many of you, to express yourself. And you did, both in Lagos and Abuja, until the government at that time was forced to remove, go back. So if you're now telling us that now the planned protest is not necessary, I completely disagree. Nigerians, sincerely speaking, in fact, we are the cheapest to govern in this country. We are not asking for too much, just electricity, water, good road, security. Those are far more too basic for any responsible government to be able to provide. So, I don't think the issue of saying that they should not go on protest should come to place. You just walk. And the IGP that is saying violent protest is not allowed, good, I agree, but that is their own duty. That when the citizens are on protest, they have legitimate right to protest. You are supposed to protect them.
Yeah, Comrade Omoji, do you think a protest of such magnitude can happen without violence?
That is the job of the police. That is why you are there, to protect lives and property. Let me tell you something.
Okay.
If it didn't turn violent in 2012, if I'm not mistaken, when they were there catching some fun, but expressing themselves at Ojota.
It turned violence in 2020.
No, that was a different protest.
It was a protest. It was a protest that caused for national attention.
Now, let me tell you about that one.
Okay.
This youth, I was in Lagos then.
Okay.
They were on peaceful protest, sincerely speaking, until certain elements, I don't know where they came from.
They are Nigerians too.
But possibly some sponsored by some power that be. They just came. This. In fact, you needed to see. people were living from the island to the mainland to enjoy themselves. They to at Lekki axis, they were, because you will see food, you will see music, you will see, until certain element just came from nowhere to just hijack the process and started shooting. Even in Ikeja, when those guys they just came with these red big buses and they just came out and started. So, and I still maintain that in order not to turn violent, it is still the work of the police. But that people should not, get angry at the way things are. Mr. President, it doesn't buy rice for 80,000 naira.
But then the president has said he has given out grains for Nigerians. He has done a lot of things. You heard the Minister of Information speaking there, talking about some of the measures being put in place by the federal government just to cushion the effects of the current hardship.
No problem. Where is it?
Probably hasn't gotten to you yet.
Until when? Now, maybe you don't know that this administration is gradually going to 2 years.
Okay.
In no time, it will be 2 years. In no time, 4 years. The same story that the former president, was telling us for 80 years. You see, I don't know why they are making issue of governance, so much of a big deal.
All right, let me take Professor's opinion as regards what the Minister of Information said this morning. What's your take? You heard the Minister of Information talking about some of the plans being put in place by the federal government just to make sure that Nigerians are not suffering at this point in time. And it's also saying, the president is saying, you should share the idea of protest at this time. That's not the way forward. That the federal government is working tirelessly to make sure that Nigerians all enjoy the dividend of democracy. Prof, what's your take?
Well, let me first say this. The information management machinery of government is defective. First, there should be seen somebody who is the authentic spokesperson of government. Is it the Minister of Information or the Special Assistant to the Mr. President? Because you see that over time there have been conflicting communication from people claiming to represent government, and this has not really helped government. It has not really helped the image of government. One person is saying one thing, the other person is saying the other thing. The way Minister of Information has spoken this morning, he has actually, I believe, spoken the mind of Mr. President, and the soberness and seriousness with which Mr. President is committed to addressing the problems of Nigerians. But the question is, should Mr. President or this government wait till Nigerians say they are protesting before they know that they have to deliver good dividends of democracy? It shouldn't be so. It's a very good thing that Comrade referred to 2012 protest where Mr. President, then as the leader of his party, featured very, very prominently. And we have said it, there is nothing wrong with a protest in the democracy. It's supposed to be an integral part of democracy, because when you govern people, there must be feedback. And what the ways in which you can have feedback, it's not every time that people protest that they protest negatively. There are some protests where people will just say, oh, we are protesting to support government. Yes, we have seen situations like that. Let me tell you what happened with the case of ENSA was that those 5 columnists that made that protest violent were actually sponsored by people supporting government. The whole idea was that go there and scatter them, and it backfired. So that is why this one should be carefully managed. And let me tell you, the security organizations themselves cannot say that until they start writing notice to them that they know that Nigerians should be protesting. They should have been they should have been monitoring the pulse, the political pulse, the economic pulse of Nigerians over time. I know that the way things are going, if they should have been giving very, very solid advice to government. The way things are going, people might protest to. The kind of feedback we are getting is not right to. That's supposed to be their responsibility. But unfortunately, in this part of the world, most of the people who surround people in leadership, they are praise singers. They are sycophants. They don't tell government the truth until things want to turn bad. And then now you now begin to see this fire brigade approach. Everybody is now saying that Nigerians should not protest. Meanwhile, when you are beating Nigerians very hard, You don't want them to cry.
Okay, Prof, I would like to take your opinion. Do you think all of these statements are coming out from various quarters, coming from the Minister of Information, coming from the Inspector General of Police, and all other quarters, telling Nigerians to share the idea of protest at this time? Do you think it will really stop this? Like the Minister of Information said, young Nigerians, the youths, from going out? Because if you go to social media, especially X, and formerly Twitter, you see how young people are eager to go all out come August 1. Do you think all of these statements could actually stop Nigerians from going out?
The only people that can stop Nigerians, especially the youth population, from going out are people that are not politically exposed. People who have my kind of orientation and who want to take out the bigger picture and said that, please, if you protest, it might be counterproductive. As a matter of fact, Nigerians will suffer more than government. Most of these people have considered themselves into local government. They have virtually everything in their estates and the rest of it. And this like creating oasis of want oasis of lavishness in the desert of want. That is what most people are doing. And Nigerians can see it all around them. They know the kind of cars these people ride. They know the kind of schools they send their children. They know the way. No. They don't buy. What they ask you when they say you should not eat imported rice. That is what they eat. So they know they say one thing and it's a different thing. They say you should buy made in Nigeria. They don't buy made in Nigeria. So what kind of leadership is that? So that's why I begin to say that it is about time we begin to walk this talk. Enough of rhetoric. You should begin now to translate these rhetorics into action. It is the only way in which we can change this youth. Let us be very, very honest with ourselves. The kind of government, and it's not just this government, it's been there over a long period of time. We have not been factoring the youth into the equation. And whether we like it or not, the future belongs to this youth.
Comrade Amaji, let me take your opinion on that. Do you think all of these statements coming out from various quarters will really stop these protesters from going all out come August 1?
The only thing that can stop this planned protest or make Nigerians to cool down, if I may use that word, is to see immediate, drastic, action that addresses their plight. If between now and that August 1st, not just rhetorics, not just talks, certain actions are taken positively to address their plight. I've told you time and again that we are the cheapest to govern. In my view, in the world, we are so anywhere you like, just give us peanuts, we are okay. But when the peanut is not even available, then you expect people to be hungry. So all this talk, Nigerians have had a whole lot of talks over and over again. I said it the other time, the same way, promises upon promises for 8 years of Buhari administration. And this, let me say this to Mr. President. Even if it is just 4 years that he has to spend in power, let him make sure that the positive, step taken to address people's plight is felt in that 4 years and make history. Leave all this politicking. I can still see, I know it's in his blood, all this politicking. This one worked for me, that one works for me.
But then you can't leave politics out of a politician.
But in this current situation that we have in Nigeria, we need a very drastic orientation, something that is a bit different, that we positively impact the people's lives. But if you still continue in the realm of, you work for me, okay, this is your own empire, you work for me, take this, we will continue to have these problems.
All right, coming down, we need to go on a short commercial break. And when we return, I'll be picking calls. And then I can see your comments on Facebook this morning. I'll read some of the comments this morning on Facebook. And of course, I will check one or two more stories before we go on the program this morning. It's still Newslands right here on omoluwabi, the 7.7 FM. We'll be back after this short time out.
The voice of integrity, omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
I will show you.
Junior, don't do that.
Sweetheart, no matter what you do, we show you love. So you can show more love to everyone.
Mom, how do you show more love to everyone? I will show you love.
Show some more love today with 4 more packs of your favorite Indomie noodles in Indomitable and Super Pack cartons. Also, each Indomitable pack is now 200 naira, while Super Pack is now 350 naira. So hurry now. Offer valid till stock lasts.
This is calling on all telecom subscribers who are yet to link their national identity number with their SIM to visit the nearest office of their service provider with a valid NIN for verification and linkage, or risk losing the lines permanently. Your service provider will confirm your national identification number in the database of the National Identity Management Commission, NIMC, and help recover the bad number after successfully linking your NIN with your SIM. A link will then be sent to you to automatically link your NIN with your phone number. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC.
When it's bright and early, get your breakfast right. You need all the nutrients that will hold you tight. Stay in power, you find it all in peak. Every move you make, Peak's got you all the way. And the peak goes on.
Power on every morning with our Peak Protein Breakfast to make the most of every day. Peak. Reach for your peak.
Honey, this meal tastes so good and different. Wait, your meals have been extra delicious lately. Even your fries. Is that something you're not telling me?
Well, it is BBMB oil. It has made my meal taste so good. I now enjoy cooking unlike before. Even you, my husband, is now so happy.
BBMV oil?
Yes, so BBMV oil is so good, pure and non-sticky that it can be used at home and parties for frying, cooking, baking, and lots more. Guess what? I'm even planning to be a distributor with BBMB oil because they supply in small and large sizes for consumers, retailers, and wholesalers, and there are trucks to move items purchased.
Wow, that is so amazing. BBMV Ventures, located at 36 Old Adioyo Road, Yemetu, Ibadan, and BBMV House, Kilometer 2, New Ikirun Road, beside National Library, Oshogbo. Telephone numbers 0811-581-3819 or 0905-386-5304. BBMV Oil, eat healthy, pay less.
Omoluwabi 87.7 FM.
Alright, you're welcome back. It's still Newslands right here on Omoluwabi 87.7 FM, the voice of integrity. Like I said earlier, we'll be opening the phone lines for you to join the conversation this morning. The studio lines are open. You can call us and share your thoughts as regards to what we've discussed this morning. 07047007999. 07047007999. You can also call us on 08053888933. 08053888933. Those are the studio lines to call to be a part of the program this morning. Alright, you can also drop your comments on Facebook at Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Drop your comments on Facebook at Omoluwabi 87.7 FM. Very quickly, before I read the comments on Facebook, I would love to share. I have this one talk about this particular story this morning. Okay, let's pick this call.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
This is Aderonke from Muslim.
Okay, please make your point.
Yeah, on the planned protest. So, to me, it's just like it's karma because I could remember during Jonathan regime. That was what President Tinubu did then. So he was trying to avoid that we should not protest. Why would we protest? The artist is too much. People are suffering. If you go to the street now, if you go to the market now, the rate things are being sold is at the high price. So he was not telling me that we should not protest. What I just see is that the adequate security should be provided for us during the protest. That's my own take. So all the state government that should provide adequate security. I could remember during the NSAS protest in Oyo State that the government provided adequate security. So adequate security should be provided. That's my own take.
Thank you very much. You made your point there. Okay, let's talk about this particular story before we move on the program this morning. And Asima orders kick as CBN hikes interest rates to 26.75%. Another time again, Prof.
Well, this is also part of what Nigerians are protesting about. Government policies that are not favoring Nigerians, they're not favoring economy, they're not favoring industrialization, they are not favoring commerce. Because the absolute truth of the matter is that if the private sector becomes comatose, they will not be able to employ. The ones that are functioning, the products they produce will be very, very expensive. If energy is not there, if infrastructure is deplorable, if security is at a parlor state, it will translate to increased poverty for people. So it's a vicious circle. So government should review all their policies. Do they want to just satisfy the IMFs of this world or the Bretton Woods institutions of this world, or they are there to satisfy Nigerians? They must understand that their primary responsibility is to satisfy Nigerians before thinking of any other entity, satisfying any other entity. That is when we become a patriotic government. Because make no mistake about it, the fact that you are in government does not mean that you are patriotic. You can actually be in government and become unpatriotic.
Coming on, your take on that? 26.7% interest rates, 26.75%.
You can imagine. Does that actually, show that indeed we have a listening government? Because if it is a government that actually understands the yearnings of the people on the street, it is highly insensitive at this point that you now still bring up, increase in certain, areas to impoverish the people the more. People have, you need to go to the market lately to see, the amount that, noodles, spaghettis are sold. These are consumables, our staple food, so to speak, and rice. Basic things that the only thing that has gone down in terms of price a bit is gari. Now, every other thing in terms of prices are on the high side. And yet somebody is still thinking about impoverishing people the more through hike in taxes. We need to be sensitive for crying out loud.
All right, let's take some comment on Facebook this morning. We have Oluwaseun saying good morning. You want to say good morning, Mr. Tayo, saying the planned protest in the country is a welcome development because the federal government has succeeded in inflicting more suffering on average Nigerians, thereby increasing the level of poverty, and of which there are known indications that things will get better anytime soon. As hunger is now the order of the day, I would just implore them to rise up to the occasion by reviving our own refinery, because the hike in fuel price is making life more difficult for average Nigerians. And at this point, I would love to implore Oyo State government to also roll out more Mitutun buses because they are really relieving us in terms of transportation. Right, that's coming from Oluwaseun Route. And this one is coming from Sir Joseph Maya, saying, good morning, Prof. Good morning. Prof is really making sense in his analysis, but I think the government is so unreasonable to Nigerian citizens, considering the fact that this hardship is not just happening, but it's also almost a year now that if the government has something to do, let him do it immediately, because Nigerians are not ready to listen to any politics anymore. Okay, that's coming from Sajo Joseph Maya. Yemi Onigegewura is saying good morning. We are saying good morning to you too this morning. Atobatele Oluwakayode is saying good morning from Ayekale or Emeji Ibadan. Okay, good morning to you too this morning. Okay, let's see who is here on the phone line. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello.
Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Your name and where are you calling us from?
This is Alfred from Okado.
Okay, please make your point very quickly.
Yeah. You see, the politician is the only man that will give you the answer to make you to forget the next question you want to ask. They refuse to do something since when this man entered his office. Is it now that no, they want to say that no, you say that no, you want to do this and that? Why not do it before? We are suffering. Nigeria is suffering. They should stop all these things and do the better thing. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that comment there. Okay, let's quickly talk about this before we go. NPA rakes in 541 billion naira revenue, remits 255 billion in first half of 2024, says outgoing MD, Prof. MBA, they made 541 billion naira revenue, and then they remitted 255 billion naira in first half of 2024.
Well, I would say it's an impressive raking, but if they have spent more than 50% of the money that they said they have rigged, then I don't see any efficiency in that, because there is no private organization or no private business person that you will not say maybe you are at the annual report, at the AGM of your company, you will not say that you made so XYZ amount of money and then you have spent over 60% of it to run the company. They will just sack the managing director immediately. That's my response.
Coming on, Moju, very quickly, your take on that. They made 541 billion naira, but then they remitted 255 billion naira in first half. Nigerian Port Authority.
So where is the difference? Where did it go?
That's gone.
So it's not just to come out with the rhetorics and shenanigans of this is how much you have made. Let us do proper audit and know where exactly and what exactly you have, in my view, for accountability. That's just my take on that.
All right, lastly on the show this morning, and the Nigerian workers will be happy at this time because the National Assembly has approved, they've passed into law the new minimum wage, 70,000 naira minimum wage, adjusted, and also adjust the 2024 budget by 6.2 trillion. We'll be able to take more on that this morning, but I think Nigerians will be happy at this time. 70,000 naira for Nigerian workers. Coming the more you have something to say, waiting for the president assent, and then start paying 70,000 naira to Nigerian workers.
Well, it's okay to some extent, but the most important thing is that we have price control, and this inflation should be reduced to the barest minimum. Otherwise, forget about the so-called 70,000 naira.
Okay, Prof, your take on that very quickly.
Simple. 70,000 naira minimum wage, a bag of rice is 80,000. So where are we?
Interesting one there. Thank you everybody for being a part of the show this morning. For all those who joined us live on Facebook, say a very big thank you to you. And to those who called in and to those who listened this morning, we say a very big thank you to you. Professor Wole Akinyemi, thank you for being a part of the program this morning.
The pleasure is mine.
And of course, Komido Moju, thank you for being a part of the program this morning.
Thank you very much.
My name is Oluwatayo Ajiwole, and I'm signing out this morning to give way for Jonathan Ibilike, who will be taking us on Sports Rave this morning, right after which Kakakiro will be coming your way. After which, some other interesting contents will be coming your way on omoluwabi 7.7 FM. Till we meet next time, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye-bye.